Hi. Hi. My name is John Galvin, and I'm doing this vlog as a way to help myself process everything that's going on. So, I'm 50 years old. I turned 50 back in May. Taurus. And for the last 20 years, I've been struggling with something that took me as a shock. When I was 30 years old, shortly after my mother passed away, and before my dad did, something happened that brought a piece of information to my attention that when I brought it to Dad, he told me everything. Well, allegedly told me everything that he remembered after 30 years time had gone by. And what I found out was that I'm adopted. And it was the way that I found out. There was an old family friend who was family friends with my grandparents. Beatrice Cummings. Beautiful little old Irish lady. Sweet. The stereotype of a sweet little Irish lady, for sure. And she lived above us. Not right above us, the apartment across, but she lived above us. And I knew her my whole life since I was a baby. And she was such a beautiful and sweet person and always had the nicest, sweetest things to say. And one day while I was walking to a friend's house, I ran into Beatrice. It was several blocks from where we lived. And she had a few grocery bags with her. So I stopped her and asked her if I could run them back to the building for her and I could leave them outside her apartment. And she was very, very happy that I made the suggestion, but declined it. And she said something to me that shocked me. Now, my apologies for the bad Irish brogue. I used to be much better at it when I was a child. Spending so much time with my grandparents, I honestly didn't even hear it. I've lost a bit of it over the years, but I'm going to say it this way because that's the way I remember it. Okay? She looked at me and she said, "I wish I had been as smart as your parents were, John. When I found out that I couldn't have a child either, I should have been like them and adopted. You're a fine lad. A fine lad." And that's what she always said to me. She always said I was a fine lad. There was never any doubt in my mind that, even though she wasn't related to me, that she loved me very much. This incident happened much later in her life, and I honestly believe that she did not know what she was doing. Either because of her age, she forgot that I didn't know, or she thought by now I did. I've never held any ill will towards Beatrice for that. But it shocked the shit out of me. And I kind of was in a stupor for a moment. And I remember thanking her for the compliment and saying goodbye to her and continuing on my way. I had across the street and I had half a block to go to get to my friend Steve-O and Joanne's house. When I got there, Joanne opened the door. And the first thing out of her mouth was, "My God, John, did you see a ghost?" Apparently I was completely flushed. So I told Joanne what happened, and she could not believe it. Especially because she always thought I looked like my dad. She found that very hard to believe. Shortly, within minutes, her husband Steve came home and we told him, and he found it just as unbelievable. But I didn't think Beatrice was mad. You know, I didn't think she was like crazy or anything. So after spending a few hours with my friends and trying to forget about things, I came home. And during the walk home, that was all that was on my mind. So I get home, and honestly, I don't even remember how, if it was blunt, if it was like a question. I don't know how, but I just told Dad. Now, I want to backtrack about something. I want to backtrack here for a moment. When I was a little kid growing up, I mean, the reason I never knew what was such a big shock to me is because everyone in my family never gave me a hint. No one. No one. My parents' friends in the neighborhoods. Now, my father's second generation where I grew up knows everybody in the neighborhood. No one, ever, my entire life. No one dropped a clue. Except my cousin Maureen. Actually, my dad's cousin. She, don't want to be mean, but just to be blunt, she's the crazy one in the family. And I mean, she'd been in a home, she had emotional problems. And when I was little, very, very little, I have this shadowy memory one day of Maureen mocking me and telling me that I was adopted. And I went crying to my parents, and they told me, no, son, she's crazy. She's the one that's adopted. And it was true. She was also. So I had no hint other than that. And that just became, like I said, just a shadow of a memory to me until all this happened. So I tell Dad, and in some tears, he comes clean. Now, I believe what my father told me, because at this point, I don't believe there was anything left for him to have reason to hide. I mean, but who knows, honestly, in the end. But what my dad told me, you know, I got to go back again. When I was really little, I wondered why I didn't have any siblings. Because with the exception of really literally one of my friends, Anthony, who didn't even move into the neighborhood until he was about 7, everyone else I knew had a brother or a sister or more. When I was really little, I remember asking Mom when I was going to get a brother or a sister. And I don't know how much she should have shared, or maybe I'm blowing out of proportion and it's fine. I don't know. And I'm not judging. Because my adopted mother, my mom, Audrey, was an awesome person. And if she made a mistake in telling me too much information, that was just that. It was an honest mistake. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. But and I was young. I must have been about 6. Her answer to me was, she told me that she can't have any more children. I'm the only one she can have, because she tried before. She tried. And one was a stillbirth, and the other was a miscarriage. I'm like 6. I don't know anything about the birds and the bees. I don't know these words, which is why I'm not sure if she should have really said it like that to me. But I kind of put her up against a fence, I guess. And she panicked a little bit. So with that being said, let me cut back. So what Dad told me that he remembered, that because of this situation where Mom couldn't have any kids, we, on my mom's side of the family, my maternal side of the family, we We had, there's a family friend, Aunt Mitch. Wow, what a lovely woman she was. She was always laughing, always had a great big smile on her face, always had a great thing to say, always had a good compliment, but at the same time, always had a witty remark too. She had a good sense of humor. And she was a great person. Apparently, Aunt Mitch knew a woman or a family. And this woman already had, now according to my father, what he remembered at the time was already had 4 or 5 kids. And apparently, again, what my father said he remembered was that this woman was dead broke and honestly could barely afford the children she already had. So Aunt Mitch introduced her to the Galvins. Told her about these people, these really nice people. He's a Korean War vet. She's a nurse for a private doctor. They're really nice, good, salt of the earth people, and this was their problem. And again, according to my father, for the price of the hospital stay, for this woman's bills, they got to take me home and give me a life and raise me. And I'm really thankful they did. Because they were 2 beautiful people. They are 2 very beautiful people. And I know one thing, that if my birth mother is still alive, I definitely would like to thank her for being brave enough to give her baby to 2 strangers. There is no way I can imagine that that is an easy thing to do. But thank you. Thank you. Growing up as a kid, I had a wonderful life with the Galvins and my extended family, the Einterzes and the Coopers and the Turners. And I got raised in a beautiful place, Inwood, New York, at a time where there was tons of kids and you all played outside. And I made a ton of super close friends that are family. All because of this. So thank you. Thank you for having the strength to do that. And thank you for not aborting me, which would have been a very easy solution, I'm sure, for some people. Thank you. I recently did a ancestry DNA test. I still have a couple of weeks before I get the results. And I did this for a couple of reasons, I guess. I grew up with a very strong pride of being Irish, with German in me. And I love the hell out of my Irish family. Wow. But am I Irish? I don't know. Does it matter? Yes and no. I mean, no, it ultimately doesn't matter because it doesn't change who I am. But it doesn't matter for curiosity. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but determination brought him back. And I'm determined to know ultimately what I am. But even if it's not Irish-German, I am never, ever going to lose that pride. Thanks to the Irish-German family that raised me. Thank you. But obviously the other reason I'm doing the DNA test is it's a hell of a thing. It is one hell of a fucking thing to, literally, and I'm using that word correctly, not figuratively, to literally spend the first 30 years of your life being, acting, and thinking that you're an only child. I said before, I have a great circle of friends, so close they're family. And I'm not talking about people I've known a couple of years. I mean, people that have been solid, that I have had their back in every single situation, and they have had mine for over 20 and 30 years. Some of them 40. Dennis and Anthony and Ray. But it's an odd thing to be an only child. And I have I have psychological earmarkings, you could say, of I don't know if it's a phrase, but I'm going to phrase it like this anyway, of only child syndrome. I am an extroverted introvert, or introverted extrovert. I don't know. I don't necessarily like being alone, but I like being alone. I like being alone in a crowd. I like knowing I have my circle with me, my pack. But I like to be left alone. Sometimes. Sometimes is a lot, sometimes is a little. My family, super cool, awesome people. Like I said, salt of the earth, common sense, good fucking people. But they weren't very talkative. Maybe that's an old school Irish stereotype. That's what I think. But we didn't talk about things. We didn't talk about feelings. We didn't talk about situations. We talked about life, how to act. I mean, they gave me a toolbox as a child. They gave me a toolbox of, this is what being a human is. This is what being a person is. This is what being a good person is. This is how you deal with society. They gave me a toolbox of all this information, but we didn't, and it was great advice. But we didn't talk about things. I didn't start talking about things till my teens when I'd get drunk with my friends. And then only when I was drunk. So this is easier for me to do because I don't mind sharing it, because I'm not sharing it with anybody, although I'm sharing it with everybody. But it's a hell of a thing to find out that now I allegedly have several siblings. Depending on how strong Dad's memory was and how honest he was being, I could have 5 older siblings. And I wonder if any of them are like me. Because I'm a bit of an odd bird. I admit that I enjoy being what I call just a little off center. Not a lot. I know how society works. But just enough to be me. But being me is different. I remember my friend Shuggy once told me, I know that's a hell of a nickname, and that's another story. That's his own story to tell. And I love Shuggy to death, and he loves me. But Shuggy said to me once, he said, "Big John, you are the most unique person I have ever known." And a few years ago, me and the wife went down to Florida where he's living now, and he came out and hung out with us. And he still believes that. And it's a compliment. It's a good thing. He says it with love in his heart and a sparkle in his eye. Because we've been through so much. But it's difficult. And I don't know. Maybe one of them's like me. Maybe none of them are. But I don't know. And I really would like an opportunity to. Is that going to change anything? Who knows? I mean, I understand that even if I find my siblings, I'm not a dummy. I totally understand the fact that they may want nothing to do with me. That's what happened with my god sister Marianne. She's adopted as well. And she went through this, and her birth mother wanted nothing to do with her. But that wasn't so much the point. That would have been a nice bonus, an extra, but that wasn't the point. The point was knowing that she was there and recognizing the fact that she was there and letting her know that. It means something. So even if none of them want to know me, it would be folly for me not to try. It's like Schrodinger's siblings. You don't know if they want anything to do with you. You don't know if they don't want anything to do with you until you see them. Said I'm a little weird. But that's why I need to process things, and I need to do it not just inside my head this time. And this is, like I said, this is faceless. I'm not doing this for anybody, but I'm doing it for anybody that cares to watch. And I call this Sibling Zero because I'm the unknown sibling. I'm the one that's not on the family tree. I'm the one no one knows about. You know, when you describe your siblings, you say things like, that's my older brother, that's my younger sister, I have 2 older siblings. You say things like that. I'm not factored into it. I'm literally Sibling Zero. Now, I don't mean that as an insult or a way to put myself down. I mean it literally what the title is and nothing else. I'm, for now, Sibling Zero. And until I find out more information, that's the best title I can think of myself in that family tree. So I don't know how often I'm going to do these. When I feel the need to process something or need to get something out, I will. I'm not going to do this rigidly like I do my other videos from my other channel. This is going to be whenever I need. And also, you know, for updates. When I get updates from my DNA, my ancestry DNA test, I'm definitely going to want to talk about that. And also, I found a really great, helpful page on Facebook. I think it's literally NY Adoptees. I can't remember the name of it. NY Adoptees and Reunion or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting it, but it's been really great. Very supportive individuals there, all rooting for me and everyone else, and it's a great community. If you're adopted, take a look on Facebook. Even if you're not in New York, there are other adoptee support groups. I guess is what they are on Facebook. And I'm sure that there's others online, other places too. So take a look. Sometimes all you need to do is know other people are going through something similar. Sometimes you want to talk, sometimes you want to listen. So take a look, and maybe one of those pages, one of those sites will be right for you. And don't ever give up. Don't stop. If you feel a need that you have to reach out and discover your family, don't let anyone stop you. I waited 20 years before I decided how I wanted to do it. You know, and at first it was simple questions. You know, I asked my cousins, and that was the huge shock finding out they all knew about it and were able to keep their mouths shut so much. You know, next time someone tells me that people can't keep secrets, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold back the laughter, really. But all the principles that were involved in it, my mom, my Aunt Mitch, my mom's sisters, by this time it had all passed. So I waited too long, and I shouldn't have. Bruce Lee once said, if you love life, don't waste time, because time is what life is made of. So if you have someone you need to look for, if you have a blood family that you want to look for and hope for the chance, because you never know if it'll come true, but just hope for the chance that they'll want to reunite with you, or if you know you have a sibling that was given up for adoption, don't stop looking. And, do everything you can. Send your DNA into the most popular ones, which right now I think is Ancestry, followed by 23andMe, which if I don't get a hit on DNA, I'm going to have to scrape up the $200 and do that, because I'm at a wall. I'm at a wall. And hopefully saying these things out loud and talking about it like this and sharing it, that's another thing that occurs to me, is if there's someone else that's having problems processing this, maybe just seeing how I process it, hearing how I process it might help you. And if that's so, fucking awesome. But like I said, don't stop. Don't let anything get in your way, because this is the most important thing, to find out who you really are. I should say if, that's the way it is for me, but if that's the most important thing for you, and you have to judge that with your heart. You honestly do. Not your mind, not your conditional situations, not your family. And that's hard for me to say. But if it's your soul truth, your spiritual truth, then you need to make the attempt. Stay strong. And just remember that when times like this happen and you need to stay strong and you're praying for strength, it's not a wish. When you pray for strength, I honestly believe you're not granted strength out of the blue. You're given the opportunity to be strong, to be stronger. So be strong and get stronger. Stay on top of it. I am. Like I said, I'm not sure when next episode will be up, but it'll be up when I need it up. Thanks a lot.